Today on 10 Forward Test Kitchen, we're diving into the 2022 Star Trek Cookbook for a dish that would probably send Tribbles into a frenzy, the Quadrotriticale Salad.
Captain's log, stardate 4842.6. Our mission? Deliver vital cargo and supplies to the Federation colony on Sherman's planet. Routine internal scans have detected an unidentified life form within the shipment. Investigation underway.
This high-yield perennial grain has its roots back to 20th century Canada and was perfect for establishing agrarian colonies along the Federation border. On Sherman's planet, it was the only Earth grain that could thrive in the conditions, making its delivery critical. Of course, history tells us that trouble often follows the best intentions. The arrival of this shipment aboard Deep Space Station K7 coincided with the infamous Tribble infestation and a merchant called Cyrano Jones. But unlike those furry, prodigious troublemakers, our shipment today is safe. No Tribbles, no Klingon agents, just a really fun recipe. Star Trek Scenic Art Supervisor Mike Okuda is confident that the prop Quadrotriticale used in the original series was simply blue aquarium gravel, and this is what the team used in large quantities during the Deep Space Nine crossover episode as well. The original cookbook recipe is eye-catching and cool, but we gave it a little 10 Forward Test Kitchen remix. We've simplified some of the steps, added more Middle Eastern inspired flavours that work well with the couscous, and brought in a little more of the original series colour palette for that classic 60s aesthetic. This dish was actually one of the very first recipes we tested when developing what would become the 10 Forward Test Kitchen. While the chill looked striking on the page, it never quite worked out for us in practice. Visually interesting, but temperamental to get right, and not especially impactful on flavour. And while the cookbook includes a yogurt and poppy seed dressing, it's notably absent from the hero image, probably because it dramatically alters the vibrancy of the dish. In fact, in our first tests, we nearly forgot to include it altogether. So for our interpretation, we made a deliberate change to an oil-based dressing that enhances the flavours without compromising the aesthetic, keeping the dish bold, simple, and in the spirit of the original. Step 1. Make sure your area is clear of Tribbles. No matter how cute they are, they will eat your ingredients. Bring a cup of water to a boil. To get that signature blue hue, we'll be using butterfly pea flowers, found in any good Asian supermarket or specialty tea shop. If you can't find them, or you're not getting the colour you want, a very small amount of food colouring works as well. After a couple of minutes, remove the flowers, and they can be reused for tea later. Add the pearl couscous and cook for about 10 minutes, stirring regularly. Once tender but still slightly springy, divide into bowls, a third in one and the rest in another. Now add lemon juice teaspoon by teaspoon to the smaller portion. Watch the colour transform from a deep blue to a rich purple, a neat little trick we used on our Vulcan Plumix soup recipe as well. This may well be our Quadrotriticale variant, a nod to the genetically engineered hybrid crop that saved the Federation from famine and yes, brought more Tribbles and more trouble. A species who loves Quadrotriticale even more than Federation colonists are Tribbles. Small, fur-covered creatures from a planet called Iota Geminorum 4. Adorable little balls of fluff whose subduing coos go hand in hand with their ability to simply eat and reproduce, making them one of the fastest breeding species in the galaxy. Over the decades, they have appeared across the Star Trek universe, from taking over starships and space stations to even becoming domesticated pets, or in some cases, pet food. So if you hear a soft purr and see a fuzzy ball apparently minding its own business, watch out. It may be the beginning of a whole new trouble. Next, the carrot tendrils, or as we like to imagine them, a glommer, the genetically engineered Tribble predator from the animated series. Bring your pot of water to the boil with a pinch of salt. Slice your carrots lengthwise into quarters. Cook until tender enough to pierce with a fork, then remove and set aside. In a clean saucepan, heat 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of honey. Stir until heated. Add the carrots back in and toss until they are well coated in the sticky oil. Be gentle with the carrots as they are quite fragile and we need to keep their shape for plating. Then add 1 tablespoon of beetroot juice and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and stir until the glaze is thick and sticky. Then remove from heat and set aside. For the salad dressing, add 1 tablespoon of honey, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, plus a pinch of salt and pepper, and stir to combine. Slice baby cucumbers into 1 to 2 centimeter rounds. Halve a punnet of multicolored cherry tomatoes, keeping their dome shaped intact. This will add bright pops of color for our TOS-inspired color palette. In a large serving bowl, start with a bed of mixed greens, lettuce, kale, spinach, leaves with a bit of texture. Toss the blue and purple couscous together, then spread them in the center of your greens. Fan out the carrot tendrils like an alien creature emerging from beneath. Add cucumber and tomato combinations around the edges, sprinkle with Danish feta and dried cranberries on top, then drizzle your dressing to complete the dish. And there you have it, the Quadrotriticale Salad. Colourful, sweet, crunchy, earthy, and very Star Trek. Imagine this on the table at a diplomatic function aboard the Enterprise, or shared between crewmates in the recreation room. We've been so humbled by the response to last month's Hasperat recipe. Your messages, comments, and fan support mean the world to us. Please keep engaging because it helps us make 10 Forward Test Kitchen even better. A few clarifications from last month. Yes, Bajor is of course in the Alpha Quadrant. We had our map upside down. And yes, it is indeed pronounced tortilla, not tortilla. You may have noticed that our universal translator is set to Australian English. So from time to time, you'll hear a few regional quirks in pronunciation that might sound a bit different to what you're used to. Rest assured, no one here is intentionally mispronouncing anything. That's just how we speak. And if fillet versus filet is already pushing your limits, then brace yourselves, because the capsicum versus bell pepper conversation is still to come. Looking ahead, next month we are planning on tackling one of the most requested dishes of all time, Klingon Geek. Until then, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.